We got 51 books to talk about. I better get a move on. Hi guys, my name is Michaela. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things books. Today, I'm going to be telling you about the 51 books that I have read from January to the end of April. 51 books. Honestly, I am quite impressed with myself. I also just want to give a shout out to Francesca from Francesca's Books because her video is what gave me the idea to do this. So thanks so much, Fran. No long intro, we're going to get straight into it. Obviously, I can't give you in-depth reviews for every single one of these books because we would be here for hours. So if you want more in-depth reviews, please go check out my channel. I'd love it if you hit the subscribe button while you're here, and let's get into it. We're going to go in order from what I read them all the way up until the end of April, and I'm also going to give you my star ratings. And the first book that I started out 2025 with was Grady Hendrix' Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. And what a book to start my year with. Wow, this book was incredible. This was my second book from Grady Hendrix, but the first book that I've actually liked from him. I feel like this book was so powerful. It follows a group of girls that all have gone to live in this house in Florida. They've been sent there by their parents because they are unwed and pregnant. They're all young, 16, sometimes younger girls, and they've been shipped off to Florida to have their babies in secret and essentially lose their babies. This is a horror that will stay with you for a long, long time. I read this book months ago and I'm still thinking about it now. This is definitely one that I would recommend, and I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read was The Psychopath Next Door by Mark Edwards. Mark Edwards is one of my favorite authors. He is slept on, in my opinion. I have been reading his books since 2016 and I'm forever trying to get everybody to read them. This was his newest release, which came out in January, and it was incredible. If you like unhinged female characters, you will eat this book up because our main character in this one, my God, is she unhinged. This is on Kindle Unlimited, so you've got no excuse, and I also gave this one 4 stars. Murder in the Dressing Room by Holly Stars. If you're a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, you're gonna love this book. This is a drag queen murder mystery. I would say it's more of a cozy mystery, but with some fantastic characters. Like, some of the characters in this book are going to stay with me, and I think this is going to be part of a series. I'm pretty sure that the next book we're going to be following the same drag queen who just had the best personality. Her name was Misty Divine. We also get an amazing cast of side characters. So if you're a fan of drag queens, RuPaul's Drag Race, you will eat this book up. I gave it 4.5 stars, and all of those books I actually just spoke about, I filmed my first ever reading vlog reading those books, so I'll link that up above. And yeah, it was my first vlog. It literally seems like I filmed that yesterday, and it was in January. Crazy. Clearly, I started this year out wanting to read lots of unhinged female protagonists because the next book I read was The Last Party by A.R. Torre. This book has the most unhinged female character you will ever meet. Her name is Perla, and she is wild. I do just want to preface this by saying this is a very, very dark thriller book that is also available on Kindle Unlimited, and we're essentially following Perla as she is planning on recreating the crime of a serial killer who is serving life on death row because he killed his daughter and his daughter's friends at her 10th birthday party. So Perla's now planning on recreating that. Yes, you heard me right. I've not seen many, if any, bad reviews for this book, so this is your sign to go read it if you want to be shocked. So we had a good run. We had just had a good run there, and then I read God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I was so excited to read this because people were saying that it was more of a literary thriller, so I knew that going into it, but I'm a big fan of literary thrillers. I really do like that, but this was one of the most densest, boring books I've read. It was a chore to get through. I probably should have DNF'd it. It was 478 pages, but this did win the Goodreads Mystery and Thriller Choice Awards, and I don't know how, to be honest. I know reading's subjective and all that, but my God. And I can't even remember what the book's about, to be honest. I think it was set at a summer camp and like a missing girl, but like, boring. Don't read it. 2 stars. Message Deleted by K.L. Slater. I wanted to love this book so much. The premise sounded so fun. Basically, a woman is at a job interview and she gets a text message from her best friend being like, "Help me, I need help. Come immediately." And then all of a sudden the messages get deleted. So her friend is like, "Oh my God, like, what do I do?" So she goes to her house And she turns up and her mate's like, what you on about? I ain't sent you those messages. And then she bloody goes missing. She goes missing. So what's happened? I thought this book was okay. I didn't think it was bad. I do think it dragged. I think it was way too long for like what the book was. I gave it 3 stars. That was probably a bit generous on reflection. But yeah, it's definitely one that I think you could skip. But I am excited for K.L. Slater's next release that's coming out in August, because I think that follows reality TV stars. Something about me is I love like reality TV and celebrities in my book. So I will definitely be picking that up. I'm also going to tell you at the end what my top 5 books are and my top 5 worst books of the year are so far. So then at the end of the year, we can see how that list has changed. My first 5-star book of the year was Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. I absolutely love this book so much. This is the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea, which is one of my favourite books of all time. If you haven't read House in the Cerulean Sea, I would really recommend you read that before you pick up this book, because this carries on immediately after The House in the Cerulean Sea finishes, and both books incredible, both worth your time so much. I actually did them on audio, and the audiobook changed the game for me. The House in the Cerulean Sea was a reread on audio. The first time I read it physically, but the audiobooks were some of the best I've ever listened to. They are available on BookBeat. If you want a free trial to BookBeat, I have got one in the description, so go check that out. I think you get like 30 hours of free audiobooks. Give the narrator a raise, because the narrator put in work. He put in work, and he gave each of those children such unique voices, and like I can still hear them in my head now. The 3 Lives of Kate K by Kate Fagan. 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it was not. Somebody blurbed it and was like, for fans of Taylor Jenkins Reid, for fans of 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. You told a lie. You told a lie. This book was so bland, so boring. It essentially follows a woman who is an author who's been writing it under a pseudonym, and now like she's telling her story essentially. I gave it 2 stars. We're not going to waste any time talking about it. Don't read it. The Frozen People by Ellie Griffiths. This was the first book that I've actually read from Ellie Griffiths, and wow, what a book. This is a thriller book is a bit different. It's got time travel involved. So we follow a group of police detectives who solve cases so cold they're basically frozen. And how they do that, they can time travel. So like you've got a bit of like the magical realism in it. And I do like a bit of magical realism in my books, I'm not going to lie. And this wasn't perfect for me. There was a lot of things that I would have changed about it. However, I think it was a great setup to what is going to be a series. And I will definitely be carrying on with the series. I gave it 3.5 stars. And I actually think that was harsh. I should probably go 4. Delicate Condition by Danielle Valentine was a book that we read for our in-person book club, and this is actually the book that inspired the new American Horror Story. I think it's the one with Kim K in it, Kimmy K. It focuses on themes of struggling to get pregnant and things going wrong when you're pregnant and people not believing you. It's a bit of a grief horror, I would say, motherhood horror, and I think I struggle to connect with it because I'm not a mum. I don't have any maternal instincts, which is why I've got no kids. And yeah, it just didn't land for me as much as I was wanting it to. I did love where the ending went though. The ending, oh my God, I never saw it coming. I never would have saw it coming, and I thought it was fantastic, and I gave it 3.5 stars. Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, which is a book that I absolutely loved. I think I read it in 2024, the start of 2024. This was a prequel that I didn't need. I don't want a prequel. I want a sequel. I'm not a big fantasy lover anyway. I like my fantasy to be cozy, and this follows our main character Viv as she was like a fighter, and like I'm not interested in that. The reason I don't love fantasy books is because they focus on war, and like life's sad enough, do you know what I mean? I don't want to be reading about war, to be perfectly honest with you. I gave this one 2 stars, but if a sequel comes out, I would definitely read it. Homicide at the Haunted House by Beth Jolgner started me on my cozy mystery journey. This was the first cozy mystery. Technically, I suppose Murder in the Dressing Room could be classed as a cozy mystery, but this was like the first true cozy mystery that I read, and it's a paranormal cozy mystery, and I absolutely loved it. It's set in a town that's called Nightmare. take me, literally, let's go, in Arizona. And it's a woman that's just rocked up there by accident. Her car broke down and she's got a job in this haunted house to try and like save some money while her car's being fixed. And this is just amazing. I'm still reading the series now. I'm loving it. They're only like 200 pages. I gave this 4.5 stars, and I'm just like, I think it'll always like hold a special place because it's the first like true cozy mystery book that I read. This is another one that's on Kindle Unlimited. Go read it. I'm loving this microphone because I can like talk really quietly, but I've got a big mouth anyway. I don't even need this microphone. The Crescent Moon Tea Room by Stacey Savinsky. I would recommend this for fans of Caraval, fans of The Greatest Showman, whimsical fantasies, if you will. It's technically a cozy fantasy that follows 3 sisters who all work in a tea room. And in this tea room, they read people's futures. And then it follows them as they kind of like all go in on their own journey. The writing was very poetical. It was very whimsical. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really wholesome, actually. Clearly, I was in a cozy fantasy mood because the next book I read was The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi. If you haven't seen my worst books I've ever read video, go watch that because this is in it. This was awful. It's not a cozy fantasy. It's a romance with a side character who is a dragon. And nothing about him really even makes him a dragon. He could be a puppy. It took some like weird religious political turn in the middle where like they had to be married before they started dating. It gave me the ick. It literally gave me the ick, and I gave it 1 star. It was my first 1-star book of the year, and I actually think this is the only book I've given 1 star this year. So that tells you everything that you need to know. My second 5-star book of the year was The Favourites by Lane Fargo. Wow, what a book. I would recommend this for fans of Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was very reminiscent of a Taylor Jenkins Reid book where you're following a character on a really in-depth level. It reminded me a bit of Carrie Soto Is Back, to be honest, but I think I preferred this one. Essentially follows 2 ice dancers throughout like their trying to be Olympic superstars. I want to say we follow them for like 20 years. It's a bit of a toxic relationship, and it's being told to you in mixed media format. So it's being told to you through like interviews, a Netflix documentary, and I absolutely loved it. Wow, 5 stars, easiest 5 stars I've given, and I want to do a reread of it soon. 6 Weeks Under by Sarah Fox is another cozy mystery. Unfortunately, I didn't enjoy this one. I gave it 2 stars. I felt like I love the setting of it. The setting where it's at is follows this woman who owns like a chocolatier kind of shop, and it's set in this town that's a bit like Venice where everybody gets about on gondolas. And yeah, there's a mystery where someone's found in the canal, and you're kind of like trying to solve that. But I just couldn't gel with the main character. I didn't particularly like her. I wasn't enjoying following her story. So yeah, this one sadly wasn't for me, and I gave it 2 stars. The Lamb by Lucy Rose was pitched to me as cannibalism and lesbians. And I mean, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Tell me you're not intrigued. And yeah, this what didn't hit for me. I felt like a message was trying to be like hammered home to me. The author was like trying to like hammer this message home. And like when I've watched videos of her talking about it, she's saying that cannibalism is being used as a metaphor for love. And I just didn't get that from the book. I really, really didn't. I thought there were so many plot holes. And I was thinking, no, like, and I know this is a horror and it's not supposed to be believable, but like it was kind of pulling me out the story, you know, like when I was thinking of that. So I gave it 3 stars, and I'm really sad because this was one of my most anticipated books. I really did want to love it. Apparently, I gave She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica 4 stars. I thought I rated that higher. That was harsh. This is where we like revisit all my ratings, guys, and I'm like, yeah, no, actually, I was wrong. I'll put my hands up. I was wrong. This follows a woman who's an intensive care nurse when a woman is brought in one day and people are like, she's jumped off this bridge. She's tried to off herself. And our main character, who's the nurse, doesn't quite believe it. She thinks has somebody pushed her. This was so twisty. I absolutely loved it. And like I said, the 4-star rating, that's a bit harsh, to be honest. The twists, I never saw where the twist was coming. And it's got one of my favorite tropes in it. Can't tell you because that would be a spoiler. But yeah, I really, really recommend this thriller book. Shark Heart by Emily Herbeck follows a man as he is slowly morphing into a great white shark. And we're following him and his wife as they're coming to terms with the fact that he is getting scales on his body. He's having to go lie in the bathtub and get his fins a bit wet. So yeah, how they're dealing with that. But the world that this is set in is quite normal. People turn into animals all the time. And like such a unique premise, right? Such a unique premise. And essentially what it is at its heart is a love story. I was loving the first 50% of this book. And then the second half just took a weird turn, a turn that I wasn't interested in. I wasn't then interested in the story that we were following. And it just wasn't for me. I wish we had stayed with the first 50%. So I gave this one a 2.5 stars, straight down the middle. Drowning at the Diner by Beth Dolgner is the second book in the series of Homicide at the Haunted House. So start with that one because you follow the same group of characters. I did enjoy this. I didn't enjoy it as much. I gave it a 3.5 stars, but still enjoyed it enough to want to carry on with the series. The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna was my next 5-star book, and oh my god, this book will stay with me forever. This book will rip your heart out and not put it back in. We follow our main character as her dad has just returned from the Vietnam War. He's come back and he's got severe PTSD. They currently live in Washington, and he's like, come on, we're off to Alaska. We're moving to Alaska. They've got no experience of living in Alaska, and we're basically following them as they then moved with their dad to this really isolated setting where they don't know how to survive. They've got nobody around them. And it is just the most heartbreaking story. I feel like Kristen Hanna is a master storyteller. I feel like her books one day will be like classics. Absolutely love it. 5 stars, easy. Just a note on Kristen Hanna's books, whenever I've read them, I always do them on audio because the audiobook narrator that she has is absolutely fantastic, because I feel like these books are such heavy topics. To read them physically, they're a bit dense, do you know what I mean? And they just work for me so good on audio. I absolutely love T.M. Logan. I think he writes such great domestic thrillers. The Daughter was the next book I read, and this follows a woman who goes to pick up her daughter from university. She turns up at her dorm room, knocks on the door, and is like, hi, where's my daughter? And the person that answers is like, I don't know what you're on about. Your daughter don't live here. So essentially her daughter's gone missing. She's gone AWOL from her university. Where is she? And we're following her name. What's her name? I want to say it's like Heather, as she's trying to find her daughter. I thought this was good. I listened to it in one day on audio. And like when I was listening to it, I thought this is going to be a 4.5 star. Like I was loving it. I couldn't stop. And when it got to the twist, it's something that I don't personally like in books. It was definitely a me problem. I didn't like where the book went. I feel like it could have gone somewhere better, you know? Like, who am I to say that? I don't know. It's just personal preference. So I gave it a 3.5 star. I do like it. It's definitely a me problem versus the books. T.M. Logan's next book's just been announced today, though. That's exciting. Can't wait for that. Other People's Houses by Claire McIntosh is book 3 in the Detective Fionn Morgan series. This is a series that I absolutely love because it's set in Wales. I am Welsh. I love books that are set in Wales. And like Claire McIntosh does a great job of like integrating the Welsh language a little bit in there. Not so much that you wouldn't be able to understand it if you don't speak Welsh, but like just little bits here and there, and it just feels like a bit of home to me for some reason. But this is book 3, and I didn't like it. I love Detective Fionn Morgan as a character, and I love like there's like a side plot of like romance in there. It's not like the main part of the story at all, so if that's not your thing, like don't be put off by that. But yeah, it's just the main like plot of this book this time, just it didn't hit for me, and neither did the last one, to be honest. What was the last one called? Game of Lies. But definitely give The Last Party a go because I loved that thriller. I thought that was such a good thriller book. I gave this one 3 stars. My next 5-star book of the year was Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. Wow, I went into this book, all I knew going into it, because it's only 200 pages, so you don't need to know much before you go into it, was that it was about lesbians, and I said lesbians and then lost my train of thought. Basically, Ro meets Ash at a farmer's market, and Ro becomes a bit obsessed with her. And she's like, oh, I've never felt this way about a woman before. Do I fancy her? Or do I just like want to be her best mate? Do I want to be her? Ash is red flags. She's red flags galore. But I'm telling you right now, you will never guess where this book goes. You will never guess. I got Amy to read it immediately after I finished it, and she also gave it 5 stars. So yeah, that's from both of us. Go read this book. Wow, it's 200 pages, literally 200 pages. Such a quick read, and will stay with me forever. That ending, oh my God, if you know, you know. The Surf House by Lucy Clark. Lucy Clark writes the best destination thrillers. Every single one of her thriller books is set in such cool places. So one of the girls was set in Greece. The Surf House is set in Morocco. What other one? The Hike was set in Norway. Like, her thriller books just have the best destinations. So this follows a girl that gets in a bit of trouble in Marrakesh, and some woman rocks up and saves her and says, listen, I live in the surf house on the outskirts of Marrakesh. Come and stay with us, like, while you're getting your shit together. And when she gets there, she finds out that a girl who like looked exactly like her and it was the same age as her had gone missing 6 months before, and nobody knew what happened to her. So our main character is trying to like uncover those secrets. This was a really good, solid thriller. I would save this one if you're going on a summer holiday. I would really recommend like you pick this book up. I think it would be such vibes to be reading it on a beach. I gave The Surf House 4 stars. Because I loved Bloom so much, I wanted to read more books from Delilah S. Dawson. So the next book I picked up was Guillotine. How stunning is this cover? I love pink and red together. Like, pink and red together is my favourite. That's actually like the colour scheme for our wedding. I know, it's not black. Listen, yeah, I'm as shocked as you. This follows a girl that's got a really rich boyfriend, and they invite her to this private island for their holiday. And like his family aren't really accepting of her, so they're a bit like wary. So she's on the mission to like impress them this weekend, and that's all I'm going to tell you. Just know it's a horror book. It gets a bit wild, does get a bit wild. It's given like Glass Onion, Knives Out, like those kind of vibes. So if that's your thing, you'll really enjoy this. I didn't enjoy it nowhere near as much as Bloom, but I did still give it 4 stars. Burn After Reading by Catherine Ryan Howard is her newest release. This came out, I want to say it came out in like March or April, and controversially it's not being released in America, and the reason for that is I think it's heavily based on the OJ Simpson case. So like her obviously lawyers or someone have been like, absolutely not, that's not coming out in our bookstores. It follows a ghostwriter as she's writing the memoir for a guy that was accused of unaliving his wife. So his wife was found in a fire, but when they like assessed her body, when they did the autopsy, they were like, she was dead long before that fire started. So then our ghostwriter is grappling with like, did he actually do it or did he not? Like, he's saying that he's going to confess in this book. So she's a bit morally grey, you know. Should she have taken this job? I thought this book was all right. I didn't think it was anything amazing. Gave it 3.5 stars. As always with Catherine Ryan Howard, I think like in her newer releases, she's got like a message she wants to get across, and that message did land for me. I just didn't kind of like love the lead up to it. So yeah, 3.5 stars. Stamped Out by Tonya Capez was another cozy mystery. Clearly I'm not having much luck with the cozy mysteries, am I? I need to read some more. This one, it follows a postwoman who lives in this small town. The small town was cute. It was vibes. And like, obviously, because she's the local postwoman, she knows everybody's business. And she's also a widow. I just couldn't gel with her. I really didn't like her. I really, really didn't like her, actually. She annoyed the out of me. And the only reason I'm giving it 2.5 stars is because it had a really good twist. Like, when the twist hit, I was like, no. Really? I never saw that come in. This is like 150 pages. If it was more than 150 pages, I would have DNF'd it, but I'm quite glad I didn't because I did think the ending was really good. Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker is a pandemic horror. So it's a brand new release, but it's set in the times of COVID. And I mean, it's literally set during the times when you couldn't buy toilet roll. Like, and I know some people don't like being took back to those times, but like, has enough time passed now that we can read about it? I don't know. The COVID side of it didn't really bother me. It was just, it's a bit paranormal. And again, I'm not a big lover of paranormal, which is why I was so surprised that I loved Homicide at the Haunted House, because that is paranormal and I love that book. But yeah, it's a personal thing. Paranormal's not for me. We did read this for book club and it was like quite mixed opinions, to be honest. Like, yeah, I think it was just like quite an average read. I think in America, this is called Cora Zeng, Bat Eater and her other names or something. It's got a different name in America, so I'll put that cover on the screen as well. But yeah, I gave it 2 stars. Not for me. I do love the cover of this book though. I think the cover of it is stunning. But which do you prefer? Do you prefer the US one or the UK? let me know. We finally got Hamish's story in Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which is the prequel. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you. The prequel to The Hunger Games. So we got Hamish's story at last. I was a big fan of The Hunger Games when I was a teenager. I absolutely loved reading them. I absolutely love the films. They're some of my favorite films. Like, wow. But this felt to me like, this is going to sound silly when I tell you my rating, but like I did enjoy it. I did. But it felt too much of like a carbon copy of the original Hunger Games. It was very, very similar. And I don't know whether that's like a controversial opinion, because honestly, everyone is absolutely loving this book. So don't get it wrong. Like, I did enjoy it. I really did. I gave it 4 stars still. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was, very reminiscent of Katniss's story, to be honest. But it was good to see like other characters' stories as well, because like we got like Effie, for example. So yeah, that was cute. The Four Winds was the next book that I read from Kristen Hannah, and it was another 5-star. Kristen Hannah's just getting all the 5 stars, clearly. But this book, like, I don't know if I would recommend it, because honestly, it was the bleakest book I've ever read. It's set in the Dust Bowl times that took place in Texas. I want to say in like the 1920s. And we follow our main character called Elsie, as she's got to like uproot her whole life because her family live on a farm and they've been affected by like the dust storms that are coming in. So Kristen Hannah's books are all based on true events, but the stories are fictional. And this poor woman, how much can one woman actually go through? It's heartbreaking. It really, really is. And I even shed a tear. Like, yeah, can you cope? You know it's sad when I'm crying. But again, like I said, do them on audio. The audiobook narrator is great, and she makes, I don't know, I honestly don't think I could have read this physically. I would have been depressed for weeks. The Midnight King by Tariq Ashkenani is one of the darkest thriller books that I have ever read. When I'm telling you, read this book at your own caution, I mean it. I don't think I was prepared, actually, for how dark this book was going to go. This book follows a guy called Lucas, who in his town, he is the best-selling, like, novelist. He's a famous, like, author, but he's also a serial killer. Bloody hell, this book. Yeah, I literally can't give you like more of a warning, but I gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars. And the book is blurbed as the best plot twist of 2025. And I always get a bit nervous when I see things like that, because I think, oh God, are you setting the book up to fail? Do you know what I mean? Because people are going into it with this massive expectation. And I can confirm it had a very, very good plot twist. The plot twist didn't let itself down. One of my most anticipated books of the year was Lisa Jewell's Don't Let Him In. And I have never been so excited to receive an ARC in my entire life. I literally couldn't believe that I was lucky enough to receive like a physical copy of Lisa Jewell's next book. What the hell? This follows a man who is a bit of a con man. You know, like the Tinder swindler. Like, he's just going around conning all these women. All the women are falling for him. And like, yeah, he's just taking them for what they got. We like buddy read this. There was 5 or 6 of us in the group, and we all read it at the same time, which I think added to the experience. Because yeah, we were all chatting our thoughts as we were reading it. And we all rated it exactly the same. And that rating was 3.5 stars. Like, don't get me wrong, this wasn't a bad book, but it's nowhere near my favourite book from Lisa Jewell. Like, nowhere near my favourite book. I just thought it was fine. I'm actually going to be really interested to see, though, like when it comes out, I think it comes out in July, what everybody else thinks of it. The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune follows a guy who has, his parents have just passed away, and all they've left him is a cabin in the woods. I mean, that's all right, to be honest, isn't it? I'd quite like a cabin in the woods. When he gets there, there's a weird guy and a little girl whose name is Artemis Darth Vader, and he's like, what are you doing here? You get out my cabin. So essentially it's a bit of a story of like found family, but this was just a bit too sci-fi for me. Like, I'm not a big sci-fi lover at all. And yeah, this was a bit too sci-fi for me. I did do it on audio, and I think if I had read it physically, I probably would have DNF'd it, but I did give it 4 stars still. So I did enjoy it, but probably only on audio. The Search Party by Hannah Raquel is like your typical thriller plot. It's like, it's not that unique. It's about a group of friends that go camping, and one of them is going to end up dead. And like, which one was it? And they're all friends from college and they've not seen each other in many years. Like, it's your standard like thriller format. But I thought this was good. I thought it was a good thriller. Would I say is one you need to run out and read immediately? No. But would I still recommend it to you? Yeah. I gave it 3.5 stars. I do wish that I had saved it for when I had gone camping, though, because I feel like it would have hit different, you know? I made a grave mistake there. Slice of Murder by Rosie A. Point. This was a cozy mystery that I loved. We're back. We're back with the cozy mysteries that I love. This is set in a pizza shop. Pizza is my favourite food. My favourite food in the entire world. I do like pineapple on my pizza though. Bit of a fun fact, when I was out in Liverpool, I think it was over Christmas, I was outside and there was these boys and they were like, oh, where is good to go? And I was like, oh my God, are you Italian? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, I like pineapple on pizzas. And they were all like this at me. I did think they were having me on though. I actually did think they were Italian. I made them get their driver's license out to prove to me that they were actually Italian. This was such a fun cozy mystery. It was literally 100 pages long. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Like if you're in a reading slump or something, just go and read this book. It's literally 100 pages. So good. I gave it 4 stars and I can't wait to carry on the series. I made a mistake by not reading In the Blink of an Eye by Joe Callahan sooner because this book has been on my radar for the longest time. I've always put it off. And wow, why did I do that? What an idiot. If you like British police procedurals, like TV shows, books, anything like that, you are going to eat this book up. Literally eat it up. This follows a police detective as she's working with an AI detective. And it's the whole conversation about like AI not having empathy or things like that. Like the AI in this, his name is Aidlock and he is so funny. But like our police detective, she doesn't want him there. She doesn't believe in AI. Like she's not with it at all. And she thinks it's going to do like more harm to the police force than anything. So yeah, it's just so good. It's funny. The mystery was good. I gave it 4.5 stars because the ending lost me just a little bit. Just a little bit. I've been banging on about this book for ages. Go read it. Another one that I haven't shut up talking about, and I think so many of you are picking it up and it's making me so happy, is The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier. This was written in 2014. 2014, like such a long time ago, but it felt so fresh. It felt like a brand new book, to be honest. Like I feel like quite a lot of like the older thrillers, like they hit different, don't they? They don't write them like they used to. Honestly, this book was so dark, so twisted, and like you're following a serial killer called the Butcher, but straight away from like chapter 1 or 2, like you know who the serial killer is, and I love that. I love following the point of view of like really dark, messed up people, and like I read it, absolutely loved it, gave it 5 stars. It was the first thriller book that I gave 5 stars this year, like the first actual thriller book, because like all the others have been like The Favourites isn't a thriller, Bloom is horror. So this was the first true thriller book I gave 5 stars. So I said to Amy, I was like, babe, like read this book. It gave her nightmares. She had to stop reading it because the poor girl was getting nightmares. She's reading to help her go sleep, and I'm like, yeah, read The Butcher, read some messed up books. So yeah, she's had to stop reading that, bless her. Little Red Death by A.K. Benedict. The premise of this sounded unreal, so I was so excited because it essentially follows a serial killer who is copying fairy tales. So like he's copying like the traditional grim fairy tales. So the police can't catch him. You're following the police as they're trying to catch him. But like he's changing his methods every single time because he's copying fairy tales. The first 30% of this book were great. Then it took some mad turn. Like I don't think it knew what genre it was trying to be. I think that's what the problem was. Yeah, it didn't have a clue like what genre it was trying to be. It was trying to do too much. I gave it 2 stars. I feel like the light is changing, so I'm so sorry, but it's like 6 p.m. and I'm trying to spend my evening with you, all right? Grey After Dark was my first book that I read from Noelle W. Ely, and I was pleasantly surprised. Not even surprised, actually. I had a feeling I was going to like her. I had a feeling I was really going to like her books. And it was very different, though, than what I was expecting. I thought I was going to be getting like a true thriller. That's not really what this book was. It reminded me of a horror movie. It follows a girl that essentially gets kidnapped from the summer camp that she's working, and we're following her in captivity as she's trying to escape. We read this for book club. Very mixed opinions. We had like some 2 stars and we had some 5 stars. I landed on a 4. Really enjoyed it. We actually had a discussion in book club where we said, like, if you were kidnapped, what like tactics would you use to get out? Like, would you just like kick up a fuss until like they kicked you out, or would you like play mental like tactics with them to get them to like think you're like on their side and then get out? And I was like, I would be gone in 2 seconds because I would just scream. They'd be like, we've got to shut her up, get her out. Thank You for Calling the Lesbian Line by Elizabeth Lovat is the only non-fiction book I've read this year. I went into this book thinking it was going to be a hidden history of queer women like it was blurbed as. That's not what I got. That's literally not what I got. I was lied to. I had a bit of a rant about this in my March reading wrap up. So yeah, if you want to watch that, go watch it, because I had a big rant about it. But essentially, I feel like this was just a criticism of people who worked on these lesbian lines in the 80s and 90s, and I don't think it was very fair, to be honest. And then the author also tried to make it a bit of a memoir, and I don't really care, to be honest. I'm here for the history, not your history. So yeah, I didn't rate it. I never rate my non-fiction. So if you ever see me give something a naught, it's because I've not rated it, and then it doesn't affect averages or anything. So yeah. I'm currently working my way through Liz Nugent's backlist, and Unraveling Oliver was the last but one I had left to read. And this follows a man that the book starts out and he's literally beat his wife. He's beat his wife and she's now in a coma. And it's come from nowhere. Everyone thought they were this perfect, lovely couple. How wrong were they? How wrong were they? And then we're essentially following through the book the people that knew him best and finding out who he was as a person and what led to him doing that. Not that there's any excuse. No excuse at all, mate. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was very little plot, very much a character study, which I do like. I do like a really good character study, and Liz Nugent does do it, one of the best out of any authors I've read. But I think my problem with this book was because this guy was just such an awful person. I hated being in his mind. I literally hated it. So yeah, 3.5 stars, not my favourite. Probably my least favourite so far from Liz Nugent. Dorothy Coombs's My Other Husband was the slow burn of all slow burns. I can't even explain to you how much of a slow burn this was. The premise of this book said that this is what I thought I was getting, right? This is what I thought I was getting. A best-selling author has got her dream TV series. Her books have been adapted into a TV show. She's in a happy marriage. And then all of a sudden, people start turning up, getting unalived, killed in the way that happens on her TV show. And then all of a sudden she's like, right, TV show's ending, I'm leaving my husband. What's happened for her to uproot her whole life like that? That's not what I got. That's not what, well, I did get it eventually at about 70% into the book. Your blurb shouldn't be telling you things that are happening 70% in. They should be happening pretty sooner than that. I originally softy and effed it. I want to say at around 60%, and then I picked it back up on audio, and the audiobook, I was too far gone by that point. I didn't care, quite frankly. So I gave this one 2 stars. I actually only give books 1 stars, if I absolutely hated them, because I think 1 stars is quite harsh, isn't it? So yeah, I've only had 1 star. All the rest, if I really don't like a book, I just tend to give it 2. Because you've still wrote a book, do you know what I mean? You're still better than me. You're still better than me. Double Mocha Blues by Tyrora Moody, another cozy mystery. This one is set in a coffee shop. What a vibe. What a vibe. And this coffee shop has live music nights. They have art from local people in there. And it's also a podcast style cozy mystery. I love podcast thrillers, so I thought I would love the podcast cozy mystery as well. I was wrong. And no, that's harsh. I didn't hate it. Again, I just couldn't gel with the main character. The language she was using was a bit off. It was throwing me off. I thought she had an entirely inappropriate relationship with a detective when she is involved in the murder investigation. I didn't think that was appropriate. So I gave this one 3 stars. I originally gave Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson 4 stars when I read it, and I actually think that is generous. And then I lowered it to a 3.5, and now I'm like, should I lower it to a 3? This follows a true crime podcaster, and she's got this podcast where people come on and they can confess to their crimes anonymously, which, I mean, the ethics behind that are a bit grey, aren't they, really? They're a bit wishy-washy. Anyway, somebody comes on the show and they're like, I killed your mum. But Poe is like, oh, I don't think you did, because I actually caught the person that killed my mum and I killed him. So either you're lying or I've killed the wrong person. I did enjoy it when I half listened to this and I half read it physically. and we were listening to it as we were going camping. And Amy dipped out of the audiobook. She said she wasn't interested. So I kind of like just then decided to carry on reading it physically. But the main character was insufferable. She was literally insufferable. All she did was call people motherfuckers. Literally, that's all she did throughout the whole book. And I was like, get a new insult. Find a new insult. I don't mind swearing, but my God, it was a lot. It was. So I'm probably going to lower it to a 3, to be perfectly honest with you, or I'll just keep it at a 3.5. I didn't actually know what genre The Fellowship of Puzzle Makers by Samuel Burr was when I picked it up. I just pre-ordered it because I thought the cover looked cool, and I knew like it had puzzles in it, so I just thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. But I would say it's a cozy mystery. It essentially follows a guy that was dumped on the doorstep of the Fellowship of Puzzle Makers when he was a baby. And these people who live in the house is a bit of a commune, and they are like some of the world's best puzzle makers, like the cleverest people ever. And they took him in and they raised him. Well, the person that he called mum has just passed away. But because she's like this puzzler, she's left him clues on how he can find out where he came from. And it was just the most wholesome story that I didn't know I needed. I literally didn't know I needed it. I've not seen anybody reviewing it. So I really, really recommend you go and pick this book up. I absolutely loved it from beginning to end. And I did originally give it 5 stars. And then like for 2 weeks, I didn't even think about it. And to me, like 5-star books are like my favorite of the favorite. Like I think about them all the time. Like they're stories that stay with me. So yeah, me being petty again, I guess. But yeah, incredible. Please go pick it up and let me know what you thought of it. Claire Douglas is another one that writes such good domestic thrillers. Like you can always count on Claire Douglas to give you a solid domestic thriller. The New Neighbours was her new release, and it didn't let me down. This one is a woman who, she's just had an older couple move in next door. They live in like terraced houses, so all their houses are attached, and she hears them planning a crime, and she's like, oh my God, like they don't look like the type of people who would do that, you know, because they're like in their 60s. What's she gonna do? I thought this book was gonna be a 5-star. Like the whole way through it, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a 5-star. But I feel like the ending was a bit of like an anticlimax. I feel like Claire Douglas could have took it a bit further. I feel like she could have took it a bit further and a bit darker, but she doesn't typically go that way. So I should have known. It's my own fault really for getting my hopes up. But yeah, so I gave it a 4. It's probably like a 4.25 if we're going to go 2.25s. Yeah, and this is the one that I've got Amy to read after I traumatized her with the butcher, because this is just like your standard domestic thriller, you know. The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. I would say this is like a dystopian thriller, because this is set on an island where like these people who live on there's like 112 of them. They are the only survivors. The rest of the world is dead and gone. A fog like came around the world and like surrounded them, and they all escaped to this island where they are protected by like this field that the scientists have put together. And yeah, they all have like their daily jobs on there, and they're essentially living in like a bit of a commune. And then one day, one of the scientists gets killed. And she was the one who was in charge of like keeping the fog out. So essentially, they've got 107 hours to save the world, or they're all going to be dead and gone as well. This one was a bit dense for me. Like I'm a bit conflicted how I feel, because while I do love the premise of it, I did find myself getting very confused at times. And I think maybe that's because I did it on audio. So maybe it's my own fault, and I gave it 3.5 stars. All Good People Here by Ashley Flowers is the last book in this mammoth list, and I was pleasantly surprised by this. I was a bit apprehensive going into this one because I've heard really mixed things. I've heard really, really mixed things about what people were saying about it. So I went into it with low expectations, which is maybe why I enjoyed it so much. It's essentially following a journalist who is investigating her friend when she was a child was found dead, and the parents were always the suspects. And people said that it very closely resembled the JonBenet Ramsey case. And I do see that. I do. From the beginning, like, don't know how I feel about it. But it does go in like a different direction. And then people also get mad about the epilogue. I really liked it. I really liked the ending, and that's controversial for me because normally I'm on the side of like, I'm a sheep, I'll follow everyone, you know. But no, I did. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and I've got her next book, The Missing Half, which comes out in May, pre-ordered. Okay, now let me tell you my top 5 best books. I was going to do top 5 worst, but like any that are 2-star or 2.5 star. Don't read. Like, just take that as my worst books list. Let's do my top 5 best books, because I feel like I can do that one. Okay, in 5th place, I'm going to go with The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. In 4th place, I'm going to go Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. 3rd place, The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier. 2nd place, The Favourites by Lane Fargo. And in 1st place, Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. They're my top 5 books this year. And I'm actually so intrigued to see, like, at the end of the year, where we're going to be up to. Like, are those books still going to be there? I feel like my top 3 is pretty set. I feel like 4 or 5 could be interchangeable. But my top 3, I'm confident, you know? If you're still here, thank you so much. Let me know what your best book of the year so far is. I would love to know. Please hit the subscribe button on your way out. Give me a little cheeky thumbs up. And I'll see you next time.